Yo, what's good, party people in the place to be? It's your man's Uncle Freezie. How y'all doing this afternoon? How y'all doing, man? Good, good. It's good to see y'all. It's good to see y'all, man. Had to jump on, man. I missed the Knicks morning drive window. But I can't go a day without seeing y'all. So y'all know what it is. How y'all doing today, man? I'm excited about this game tonight, man. How about y'all? This Orlando Magic team, I don't know. You don't want to ever say that a game is um, an easy win, but at the same time, this one right here should be this one right here should be less stressful than the Boston Celtics game. So I want to put something out there. There's a few things I want to talk to y'all about. Of course, y'all know I always have some things I want to talk to y'all about, man. So I'm gonna do the watch along later, and I want y'all to come and hang out with me as we do the watch along. I'm gonna put the watch along stuff up for us right now. So we'll call it um, Knicks Family Reunion. How about we call it that? That'll be our watch along title, right? And then we'll say Knicks versus Magic, and I'll create a thumbnail right quick. Let me see. Yeah. Bam. So I created a thumbnail for it, and we'll jump on at 7:25 today. Bam. So create the thumbnail just that quick, put that out there, and now we can rock. Right. Let me shout out my people. First of all, I'm gonna throw the invite in the chat just real quick. Right. And I also and I gotta get to the shout outs too. Where is there it is. So the link is in the chat. And so let me shout out my people. So Eli M, what's good? What's good, Eli M? How you doing, brother? Jerry Fitz is in the building. Wilson Dang is in the building. Rabbit Pie is in the building. Pudge Nice, what's good? Miss Geraldine, how you? What's good? South BK, what is good? Good to see y'all. CWC, what's happening? What's happening? KJ Dub Events, what's good? Stafford Don, what's good? Hey, Stafford Don, I need to talk to you about something. All Future Media, what's good? Quiet Money is in the building. What's good? DDS, what's popping? Wacko Knicks Fanatic, what's good? So I want to talk to y'all about something real quick. Right? It's a few things I always want to y'all know, man. I always want to talk to y'all about stuff. Y'all know it. I've been wanting to share stuff with y'all because for the most part, I usually want to get um feedback from diehard Knicks fans. You know what I'm saying? So let me find this thing really quick, and I want to chop it up with y'all about it. All right. So the topic I want to jump on real quick, and I'm gonna talk about the Orlando Magic, right? I'm gonna talk about the Orlando Magic, but I want to talk about something else first. I want to talk to you about the NBA's All 75 team. Just real quick. Not long at all, but I want to talk to you about the NBA All 75 team, right? And how many Knicks were on the list, and were you surprised? And do you think somebody was snubbed? Right? So I'm pulling up the list right here, and I want to make sure that I don't forget anybody. Okay. All right. Dave DeBusschere. Patrick Ewing. Walt Clyde Frazier. Well, all right. Bob McAdoo was a Knick. That's for old school people. Was by Bob McAdoo, Earl the Pearl, Earl Monroe. All right, there is another on this list. I can't find it. Willis Reed. Okay. Just give me a second because I wanna have a conversation with y'all of the thoughts, right? Okay, Bill Sherman, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Warren, Jerry West, Lenny Wilkins, Dominique Wilkins, James Worthy. Okay. All right. So I'm back. So all right. So Knicks Nation, what's good? Knicks Nation said, Uncle Freezie, I didn't know that. Decius Thomas is in the building. What's good? What's good? I didn't know that, man. Y'all be doing these fancy thumbnails, man, and all these fancy names and all that stuff. Man, I didn't know. Hey, what's good? Man, I didn't know that. Yo, I didn't know that was. I know who Theseus Thomas. I know that, bro. Hey, I know that. That's dope, man. I had no idea that you did a joint. Why'd you change the name? You got to tell me why you changed. Yo, hit me up on the joint. Look, I'm gonna put it right here. Hit up the show. Tell me why you changed the name. I didn't know that, bro. Shout out to Knicks Nation 112. Shout out to Knicks Nation 112. What's good? Right? All right. So here's the thing I really wanted to get into, right? So the Knicks have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Knicks have 7 players on the top on the NBA's all 75 list, right? Right? And so here are the names: Willis Reed, Earl Monroe, Bob McAdoo, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Dave DeBusschere, Carmelo Anthony. So they have Knicks of just about every era. The golden era, right? So the golden era, which was about 68-ish to about 74-ish, somewhere in there. That's the golden era. Because even in 68, even though we didn't win it in 68, the team felt like there's no way we're not winning it in 69. And they went out and did it. The 69-70 season. The 68-69 season, the Knicks were like, hey, man, we let them get away. But next year, the NBA is going to pay. And you know what? And they were absolutely right. They came right back out and won the championship. They should have won it in 68. We could have had 3 chips. 68, 69, 69, 70, and 72, 73. Right? A few injuries in between. And we kind of got older. DeBusschere and them cats got older. We went out and got Earl the Pearl Monroe. And that's all we needed. So how do y'all feel think about this. Nah, Jerry, I'm telling you, 68, trust, 68, 69 season, or 68, 69, yeah. My uncles and them, I was not little, but anyway, my uncles and told me that they were like, yo, we let one get away. And then I heard Clyde Frazier years later say the same thing. Yeah, man. Oh, I mean, I believe so based on what I heard. Now, based on what you saw, you might have been, may have a different opinion on that. But based on what I'm not old enough to actually be there. I wasn't, like 30 and back then. But I think I believe it. I believe them guys said, I believe them guys were right when they said, they probably could have. But that'd have been so sweet. A chip in 60, 68, 69, 69, 70, and 72, 73. Super sweet. Right? But here's the question I want to ask y'all. This is the question I want to. The Bush came. Yeah, from Detroit. Right? Yeah. And so the thing is with DeBusschere, people understate his impact on the Knicks. A lot of people know Dave DeBusschere is the dude that overreacted at the Patrick Ewing draft lottery, the first NBA draft lottery, but they don't understand how great a play or I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say Dave DeBusschere was an athletic freak. What I'm going to say is Dave DeBusschere knew how to play basketball. He was the missing piece. Booker D, what's good? What's good, Booker D? So my question to you is, as a Knicks fan, how do you feel when you see 7 out of the NBA's all 75 are New York Knicks? How do you feel when you see 7 players out of the NBA's all 75 team are New York Knicks? Not 2, not 3, not 4, 7. 7 players. Hey, and you know what, Jerry? You're right about Clyde taking a jump in 69-70. Clyde did take the jump because, and I say this as if I'm an expert of what happened in 1969. Some of us were babies, but the thing is well, how about I speak to the stuff that I do know? What I do know is Clyde Frazier started his career. He had to get accustomed to the NBA game. How about we say that? But after Clyde Frazier was accustomed to the NBA, he became an all-time great. And it's a shame that Clyde Frazier doesn't get mentioned when people say who are the great point guards of all time. It's a shame that Clyde Frazier doesn't get mentioned in those conversations. Hey, Fish says, I'm only 62 years old, but even I know Bernard King was cold. Yeah. And Bernard King was a great scorer. Bernard King was a great scorer, but just like all scorers, all historic scorers, I mean, how many scorers can you put on a list? Right? How many scorers can you put on an all-time great list? So when I looked at the list, I don't know if David Thompson is on it. Yeah, see, David Thompson's not even on this all 75 list. Jerry Fitz, you remember David Thompson? You remember Skywalker? This question is just for Jerry Fitz. Do you remember David Thompson? David Thompson was an excellent scorer. Excellent scorer. Jump man. David Thompson at whatever they had him listed at, 6'4", or whatever they had him listed at, probably had the highest vertical of any player that we've ever seen. And I think David Thompson went to North Carolina State, right? I think David Thompson, if I remember correctly, I think he went to NC State, right? Right? So Fish says David Thompson was an athletic freak and scorer. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So David Thompson was an athletic freak, man, at 6'4", whatever they had him listed at. But my point is how many scorers are you going to have on the list? Because if you say Bernard King should be on the list, then my belief is David Thompson should be on the list. Is Alex English on the list? Let me check. I'm just going to check to see if Alex English made it. No, Alex English didn't make the all 75 team. Right? Because you have scorers like James Harden, Iceman, Dr. J. I mean, how many scorers can you have on a list? You know what I mean? At some point, you have to ask yourself, do I add Dominique Wilkins or Bernard King? Wow. Okay, wait a minute. I forgot about Jerry Lucas. Jerry Lucas made the list. I don't remember ever seeing him play for the Knicks. Okay, but he scored 11 points a game with the Knicks. Okay. So that's 8 Knicks on this list. Right? Jerry Lucas was a Knick player towards the end of his career. So that's 8 Knicks on a list of 75. Sam Holt was good. Quiet Money was good. CT3 was good. Oh, CT3, good question. Is Mark Aguirre on the list? What about Adrian Dantley? Let me check Mark Aguirre. No, Mark Aguirre is not on the list. What about Adrian Dantley? Adrian Dantley is not on the list. Man. So we have 8 Knicks on the list, right? And Mark Aguirre is not on the list. Adrian Dantley is not on the list. Jamie Peralta, what's good? What's good, Jamie Peralta? So the NBA has a list of its top 75 players, and the Knicks have 8 legitimate players that contributed as Knicks. Bob McAdoo was a heck of a scorer, bro. Bob McAdoo was a heck of a scorer. The young fans will know Bob McAdoo as where would you guys know Bob McAdoo from? Oh, you would know Bob, the assistant coach for the Miami Heat. The tall old man that used to say about Spoelstra all the time. That's Bob McAdoo. Bob McAdoo could score, boy. The one thing you could say about Bob McAdoo is scoring was not a problem. You talk about a dude that never got cold, a dude never in a slump, Bob McAdoo. Right? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, and it was a different era. And the era that Bob McAdoo, I think Bob McAdoo was with us from 76 to 78 or 75 to 79, something like that. He was in with the Knicks in the mid 70s. Let me check to be sure. Let me fact check this, but I think I remember Bob McAdoo being with us in the mid 70s. It's a shame we wasted him too. Yeah, Bob McAdoo played with us 3 seasons, and those 76 through 70. Yeah, 76 through 79 traded him to Boston. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, Bob McAdoo could score, boy. And listen, yeah, Bob McAdoo did play for the Lakers. You remember that? Bob McAdoo played for the Lakers. They had all these. The Lakers were loaded, man. The Lakers had Kurt Rambis coming off the bench, Michael Thompson coming off the bench, Michael Cooper coming off the bench, Bob McAdoo coming off the bench. I mean, it was crazy how much talent they had. Right? DDS said McAdoo was a vet in the Showtime's like, yeah, he was a vet. He offered them scoring screens. Man, listen, the dude, by the time he got to the Lakers, he wasn't a totally different player, but he was a very smart player by the time he got to the Lakers. Rome Far Rock was good. So Canal Bond Lawyer says Davis is good for his time, but is not an all-time great. I think I could. I don't know, man. The Anthony Davis debate to me is it's touchy. Because the cats of this era think the players of this era are better than players of any era. Hey, L, what's good? Right? And so, in my opinion, I think the best era of basketball is the 80s. I think the 80s ushered in the best era of basketball, in my opinion, because the 70s era wasn't, in my opinion, as good because players were not as skilled. They were like special. They weren't necessarily specialists, but you wouldn't see a power forward grab a rebound and push it the length of the floor, basically. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't see centers shooting jump shots back then. You know what I mean? A center would not ISO another center and take them off the dribble. right? The game back then was a lot of energy, and athletes back then stood out. Elite athletes back then stood out. Right? Decius Thomas says, I don't know if I'm market, but I wanted to show my appreciation. Yeah, blorangetears, help Knicks Nation get through the yeah, man, working from home and the unknown. One thing we knew is 7:40. Yep. Hey, 7:40, 11:45 Knicks Night podcast, 8:45 Knicks Morning Drive. Yep. Yep. For sure, for sure, for sure. So the Knicks have 8 players on a list of 75. And I'm here to tell you that the greatest show of respect to a franchise is by acknowledging greatness. Right? Acknowledging greatness. Hinton Murphy, what's good? For the Knicks to have 8 players on a list of 75 means the NBA and the media acknowledge that over the years, the Knicks have been a great franchise. Because some of these players could have easily been left off the list. Easily been left off the list, and we'd have felt disrespected. Right? So again, just one more time, I'm going to say this. And y'all let me know who y'all feel like should or shouldn't be on this list. But the Knicks have Jerry Lucas, Willis Reed, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Bob McAdoo, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Dave DeBusschere, Carmelo Anthony. So I have a question that I'm going to ask y'all, and don't think that Okay, so the game comes on at 7 p.m. So I'm going to change I'm just going to change the jump on time to 6:55. 6:50. Right? All right. So the producer says League Pass has a game coming on at 7. So we're going to change it to the jump on time to 6:50. All right. So I'm going to ask y'all a question, and I'm going to put the poll in the chat. Right? I'm going to put the poll in the chat. Let me go to YouTube. View on YouTube. Man, I got 1,000 browsers open. All right, I'm just going to do this real quick. Just bear with me. All right. I don't know why I want to put nugget with 2 T's, but I'll try to be smarter than that. All right. So there it is. Bam. I asked the question. Carmelo Anthony is a top 75 player of all time, according to the NBA. But my question to you is Carmelo Anthony a New York Knick or a Denver Nugget? Is Carmelo Anthony a New York Knick or a Denver Nugget? Right? And here's the thing. The Knicks, let's not pretend that Carmelo Anthony was drafted by the Knicks. He wasn't. Let's not pretend that the Denver Nuggets got tired of Carmelo Anthony and just jettisoned him out, because they didn't. Carmelo Anthony wanted to leave. Right? So I have the chat. So I have the poll up. Right? I have the poll up. Right? Let me know what you think. Is Carmelo Anthony a Knick or a Denver Nugget? Jerry Fitz, yes, I'm with you. Mark Jackson also is another Knick that people say, but that feels like a Pacer to me. Mark Jackson doesn't feel like a Knick to me for some reason. And I know players can play for other teams, right? I know players can play for other teams, right? But I'll give you an example. I think John Starks played for 5 teams. Starks played for the Knicks, the Utah Jazz, the Chicago Bulls, the Golden State Warriors, and I think he got cut by San Antonio his rookie season. Right? But John Starks feels like a Knicks player to me, because he was here through our ups and downs. He was here when we were down. He was here through the ascension. He was here when we got to the finals, and he was here after that. Right? But Mark Jackson was here during the same period as Starks, and then was traded away. And then when he came back, he was a shell of himself. So let's check the poll. Is Carmelo Anthony a Knick? Let's see what the poll says. And at the moment, with 17 votes, most of us are saying a Knick at 68%, but 32% and climbing is saying Melo is a Denver Nugget. Minus 2 Trill says, where do you put Phil Jackson? Phil Jackson as a player probably reminds you of a I want to think about what Phil Jackson brought to the table. He definitely brought toughness, brought rebounding. He was definitely a great role player. Phil Jackson was a great role player. A great role player, man. He was a great role player, right? L Train says, so what about Bernard King? Is Bernard King a Knick? Yes, but I'm not declaring Bernard King an all-time Knick. I'm going to say yes, but Bernard King only played 208 games as a New York Knick. That's less than 3 seasons. That's less than 3 seasons as a Knick. Charlie Ward played more games as a Knick than Bernard King. So I'm not being disrespectful to Bernard King, right? And so my thing on Bernard King is there's a backstory with me and Bernard King. See, I loved Michael Ray Richardson. And as soon as I say Michael Ray Richardson's name, anybody that knows Knicks history knows the rest of this narrative. Right? They know why every time I hear Bernard King's name, y'all know why I feel a certain way. It's not because I dislike Bernard King. Right? So Jerry Fitz, I really like this Jerry Fitz person. Jerry Fitz says, Bernard Nick for sure. I really like this Jerry Fitz person, y'all. Um, Bernard King played 208 games as a Knick. I know that off the top of my head because of arguments that I had in the past with people that say Bernard King should have his number retired. So for his career, Bernard King averaged 22 and a half points a game. I'm sorry, Bernard King played 206 games as a Knick. 206 games as a Knick player. Right? Mostly though, he played to start his career, he started out with New Jersey, then Utah, then Golden State, then then the Knicks. But I don't want to bash Bernard King because he was a great player. I don't want to bash Bernard King, y'all. I don't want this to turn into that. That's not what I'm going for with this. Right? My thing with Bernard King includes the Michael Ray Richardson trade. I'm gonna search for the details. Yep. In 1982, the New York Knicks acquired Bernard King from the Golden State Warriors in a trade for Michael Ray Richardson. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. I remember some of these things in Knicks history. Um, some of the moves in Knicks history frustrate me because of how they played out in the newspaper first, and then the front office reacted and um, made knee jerk moves. Are you saying Dwight Howard is not better than Kevin Willis? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't want to go there. I don't want to. I don't want to go there. But Robert Ory does have rings, y'all. So let me do this. Let me do this. I want to transition into tonight's game, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous about tonight's game. Tonight's game seems to me to be like, yo, infamous new king is in the building. Europe, what's good? What's good? What's good, infamous new king? Hey, I think we're gonna be eating tonight, bro. But tonight seems like the type of game that all I want to do is win by one and have everybody come out healthy. I don't want to take this young, clumsy team for granted. I don't want to take this young team for granted. And I just want to come out of this game healthy. Right? No more injuries. No more injuries, man. So Taj Gibson to be back tonight. Wow, did Tracy McGrady make this list? Did McGrady make the list? If McGrady didn't make this list, the list is flawed. Yeah, McGrady didn't make the list. I think I may take McGrady over Robert Parrish. I take McGrady over Robert Parrish. I take McGrady over. Okay, let me start from the beginning. I take McGrady over. I don't know. This list is tough, man. Yeah, there are a lot of Celtics on this list also. Knicks and Celtics dominate this list. And Lakers. Y'all say no T-Mac. Is it because of injuries later in his career? Is that the reason why you said no T-Mac? Because his career was not long enough? Is that why we're saying that? Because McGrady in his prime was probably the best wing scorer in the NBA in his prime. Yeah. Now, Damian Lillard, if you go by stats only, I think it's unfair because you have to look at era. The era he plays in. If Jerry West played in this era, Jerry West averaged 47 points a game. Get out of here. Get out of here. If Jerry West played in this era, Jerry West would average 48 points a game. The dude is the logo, bro. The dude is the logo. These dudes say, hey, bro, I can shoot from the logo. Jerry West would say, oh, you shooting from my silhouette? Bro, are you serious right now? Are you serious? Jerry West in this era would average 49 points a game. Jerry West was the original. The Knicks were up by 2 against the Lakers, and Jerry West hit a 75-foot buzzer beater to tie the game and send it into overtime. Are you serious? Are you serious? If Jerry West, listen, y'all have no idea how good these old school players are. Now, hey, KBL, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do this right here. No, don't do this. Because Dragic would never have been the logo, bro. That's like saying Goran Dragic is the best player in the NBA. Let's make him the logo. How ridiculous does that sound? Bro, are you serious? Yeah, I'm asking you that. Are you saying Jerry West is Goran? No. Jerry West, his nickname is Mr. Clutch. You couldn't have a 5-point lead around Jerry West, bro. You couldn't have a 5-point lead with 2 minutes left to go in the game against Jerry West. I wish I need some 50-somethings to stand up. Anybody in here that saw Jerry West play? Anybody that saw Jerry West play, man, I need you to raise your hand. Something. Put a thumbs up in the chat or something if you saw Jerry West play, bro. They call him Mr. Clutch. The Knicks were up by 2, ready to celebrate a championship, and Jerry West hit a 75-footer to tie the game. Bro, man, listen. Why do people still know Jerry West's name today? People still know. I'll give you an example. Elgin Baylor was the precursor of your Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type players, right? Elgin Baylor. Right? Elgin Baylor was the precursor to your Jordan, Kobe, I don't want to say Vince. I will say Vince Carter type players, right? But you rarely hear people mention Elgin Baylor's name. Right? You rarely hear people mention, like give you another example. Tom Heinsohn. I think Tommy Heinsohn is on the list, right? I think Tommy Heinsohn is on the list. Let me see. Let me see if Tom Heinsohn is on the list. So Heinsohn is not on the list. Havlicek is on the list. But I give you an example. The Kevin Love type player comes from a certain prototype also, right? 6'10", double machines, right? They started back in the 60s too. The 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", double machines, right? But you don't hear them even mentioned, bro. And people still mention Jerry West. People still mention Jerry West, bro. Still to this day. Right? If Jerry West played in this era where you can't touch a guard, Jerry West averaged 50 points a game. Jerry West would legit average 50 points a game in today's NBA. The Jerry West is, man, look, man. So Phil wasn't elite like West, though nowhere close. Which Phil are y'all talking about? Which Phil? Hey, be civilized. What's good? Oh, you talking about Phil Jackson? Man, Phil Jackson wasn't no. Phil Jackson was probably the 8th best player on his team when he played. Phil Jackson might have been the 9th best player on the Knicks when he played. Windmill Phil, are y'all serious? No, we ain't about to have. We ain't about to do this now. We ain't about to do this. Windmill out of Montana? No. Windmill, no. Phil Jackson was a good player, a good role player, but nah, we ain't about to put him in this conversation with the top 75. No. Hey, there you go, Fish. Nah, we ain't about to have this conversation where Phil Jackson is in a conversation with some of the greatest players of all time. No. Phil Jackson was an excellent role player. If you had a good big man, Phil Jackson would come and hack him up, frustrate him, get him out of his game, and go back to the bench. Phil Jackson was a good passer, high IQ, but he was not a great athlete. He was tough, but he was man. Phil, no, man. Fish, what's good?
What's good, huh?
Man, y'all talking about Phil Jackson?
No, I was saying that I said that Jerry West was good player. He's the logo and executive. He knows his basketball, and he was saying that he should that makes him think Phil Jackson should be on there too. Now I was saying Phil wasn't even a great player at all.
No. Now Phil was probably the 8th best player on the Knicks, 9th best player if you count the bench.
Right.
Phil Jackson wasn't even better than Bill Bradley. Phil Jackson wasn't better than Bill Bradley. When you think Bill Bradley, the first, now this is me, and I know it may be wrong, but when I think Phil Jackson, I think Wally Zerbiak.
Okay.
Right. When I think Phil Jackson, I think
just an energy guy. Like
I mean, not Phil Jackson, but when I think
Mark Matson, Ronnie Turioff type.
No, talking about Bill Bradley.
No, I'm talking about Phil Jackson.
Yeah. When I think okay. So when and this is probably I'll bring it full circle. When I think Phil Jackson, I think Kurt Rambis.
Yep. Exactly. Okay.
Full circle. Full circle. This is
that's perfect.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And the fact that Kurt Rambis wound up being with Phil just, sums up everything. When I think Phil Jackson, I think Kurt Rambis. Because when you think the Showtime Lakers, you don't think about Kurt Rambis.
No. You don't think, no. He wasn't part of the word Showtime at all.
No, Kurt Rambis was the dude. Kurt Rambis was the dude that did all the dirty work.
Yeah.
Kurt Rambis would work his behind off. Now, was he a good player? Nah. Was he a great contributor to a winning organization? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. But does he deserve to be in this conversation when we talk about top 75? No. No way.
Nah, I feel like it's a couple players on there that shouldn't be on there that I don't know if they got like some recency bias or whatnot. But what really made that list tough is that they kept the original 50 greatest players of all time.
Right.
So they only added 20. Well, I think they added 26 more players. So that's why a lot of players got snubbed. If they would have rebuilt it from the ground up, some of those older guys probably wouldn't have made the list again.
Right. So, and it's not fair because in the era in which they played,
right, they were great.
Yeah. In the era in which they played, they were great, man. Like somebody's trying to tell me that you can compare Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson. No. Man, get out of here. Just Westbrook averaged a triple-double, so what? He is Russell Westbrook plays in a jump shooting era. You feel me? Hey, Kanyen.
His rebounds were different. His rebounds came differently than Oscar Robertson.
Oscar Robertson went in there and mixed it up and got rebounds. Russell Westbrook is rebounding long 3-point attempts.
Right.
I mean, Russell
still
Westbrook
rebounding, but it takes away from the allure of it a little bit.
Right. I mean, and I'm not saying that any guard can average 10 rebounds. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it helps that he plays in a 3-point era.
Yeah, and he plays in an era where they take more shots as well, and era where the pace is faster. So it's more, rebound attempts.
Right. Hey man, and listen, hey man, I don't know. And this person, Jerry Fitz, has probably been in the chat all along, and I missed it, but I really like this Jerry Fitz person.
Yeah, he's been speaking some facts today.
Yeah, man.
He's a basketball savant for sure.
Yeah, Jerry Fitz says Phil was a backup big, would come in the game and muck it up. Rambis is a good comparison. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. I mean, it is what it is. Hey, Kanyen says, Zoe is not a top 75 player. Sorry, I agree. Alonzo Mourning, his impact on the game was not. If you talk about other impact like fitness, then I could agree.
And the wording of the team also has a lot to do with it because like it's the 75 anniversary team, so you would like it's not like the 75 iconic team. Like then you would put Vince Carter on there, Yao Ming, like those players are iconic in the game, but that I don't think they're like part of the anniversary team. I think the wording on that changes a lot of what type of player you're looking for on that list.
Right. Hey, good point. I was asked if Jamal Wilkes is on the list. No, Jamal Wilkes wouldn't be on the list if it was the top two. If it was the 200 anniversary team. I think Silk Wilkes. I think he was good. But not when the people that barely missed are named Dwight Howard, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. You know what I'm saying? I think I still take them over Silk. You know what I mean? So Knicks Nation says the easiest. Oh, I'm sorry. The asset today is. Oh my gosh. The assist today is different than in the day, and you might lose a tooth or two trying to get aboard in Oscar Day. Exactly right. Right. CT3. I think Mutombo fell off really fast.
Okay.
What do y'all think about Sean Kemp?
I was arguing with my friend about that earlier. I think he's not anniversary team. He's a more iconic player.
Right. There was some.
Like you can't name me 75 players that you rather watch than Sean Kemp or see, that's doing, amazing things out there on the court than Sean Kemp.
Right. And the thing is with Cornbread. You remember Cornbread Maxwell? Cedric Maxwell? Yeah. That dude was an instigator, man. He was I'm not ready to say he was Draymond Green, but bro, the way he instigated, yes.
What you think about Klay Thompson being left off the list?
It's a travesty.
Yeah, I think that was kind of messed up. He should be on there over Dame.
And I picked Klay Thompson because I think you don't go all offense.
Right.
You can't go all offense in these scenarios, man. Because of this. Klay Thompson made winning plays in the clutch.
Yes.
Right? When the Golden State Warriors were 72-10 and down in game 6 on the road to the Oklahoma City Thunder, Klay Thompson willed that team to a W.
Yeah. And
he willed that team to a W. He said, run my play over and over, and they're not going to stop it. And you know what they did? They ran this play over and over and over again, and the Thunder couldn't stop it.
Yeah, I knew he was different at that point. I knew he could shoot, but I'm like, it's different.
It's the same pin down at the front of the rim, get the screen, come around on the wing. They couldn't stop it. I was in a bar in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Right? I was in a bar in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right? And I was rooting for the Warriors to win a championship, right? Because I'm like, yo, you win 72 games, bro. You need to win a championship. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but whatever. But at the time, I was in this bar. I was rooting for him. And so, I mean, rooting for him to accomplish history, not rooting for the franchise. I don't care nothing about the Golden State Warriors, right? I don't. I root for one team, right? So the thing is, they run the play for Klay, and you can see it. And I'm like, if Klay catch this ball, that's money. Klay caught the ball, and it was money, right? And so we're like, I'm in the bar with a bunch of dudes from Philly, and they're like, man, they can't stop this play. Klay starts the same. He points at Draymond. Draymond come around to the screen. Klay pop out. Russell Westbrook is fighting through all this stuff, and they run the same play over and over and over. And Russell Westbrook can't stop it. And Kevin Durant is looking at Westbrook like, bro, you got to stop this play. And Russell Westbrook is barking at KD like, you do what you do, I do what I do, something. And Game 7 when they won, the look on Kevin Durant's face when he looked at Russell Westbrook when the Warriors won, and Steph went over and talked to KD, I was like, "Yep, he gone, bro. He is so gone." I thought he was going to Houston to play with James Harden, but you could tell Klay Thompson took the heart out of that friend. That franchise has never been the same.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're like, well, who do you replace? Yeah, I think that the easy names to at least look at, James Worthy,
that's hard though, because I feel like the same reason why Klay would make the list is the same reason why Worthy would make the list. They're part of iconic dynasties, pivotal parts of iconic dynasties.
I just don't think you can be the third best player on a team and then be considered.
Klay was though.
Huh?
Too. Klay was the third best player on his team too.
Nah, they won a championship before KD.
That's true. That's true too. That's true.
Yeah. Think about if the Lakers have won a championship without Magic?
No.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Yeah, man. It's one of the, like what Kanye says. Hey, Kanye says take Dame off the list. I would take Dame off the list, bro.
Yeah, Dame and AD shouldn't have made the list. Like Vince Carter and T-Mac should have made it over them for sure.
Right.
Even Dwight Howard. Even though Dwight Howard, I just feel like Dwight Howard really, his fall from grace was just terrible. Like he went from one of the best to like one of the worst players. I don't know. But Dwight at his peak was one of the, best players in history.
Yeah.
At his peak. He's one of those dominant top centers as well.
Do you remember the game? Klay Thompson scored 61 points on 11 dribbles.
Yes, 11 dribbles. Yes, that's come on.
Bro. 61 points on 11 dribbles.
Come on.
That's crazy. And he could have scored.
The dribbles he took were dead dribbles. Like he like, you know what I mean? He was like bringing the ball up. They were never really like trying to break down the defender. Like a lot of those 11 dribbles were like pump fake, take a dribble, shoot. Like it wasn't. It was a beautiful game.
Right, and so what I'm saying to that is I would prefer Klay Thompson been on a list as opposed to James Worthy. Not saying that James Worthy's not a great player. I'm not saying that. Big Game James was a great player, but bro, he was the third best player on a dynasty. You know what I'm saying? Because so you can make the argument that if James Worthy should be on the list, then Chris Bosh should be on the list.
I see where you're going with that.
If James Worthy is on the list, then why not Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili? If you're talking about the third best player on the championship team.
Okay. Yeah, right. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Now I know that might seem like a stretch, but did Kevin McHale make the list?
Yeah,
Kevin McHale made the list, and Kevin McHale came off the bench for a lot of the Celtics championships. So do I put Kevin McHale on the list over Tracy McGrady? No.
But he was a part of that original 50, though. That's what messed up the whole list.
Right.
Because they started with 50 already. They didn't rebuild it from the bottom up.
Right.
You think they should have did that, or do you think they should have kept it?
Nah.
Once you make the list, you make it.
I'm like this. Man, and I have to use examples, right? So for all the 30-somethings in this chat, right? Think about how good you feel when the 16 and 17-year-olds come up to you and be like, "Yeah, I remember you, man. You used to do such and such, man. You inspired me. You the reason why I took them extra J's." And like a 15-year-old dude walk up to Fish and be like, "Hey, Fish, I remember when you was such and such, man. You inspired me. I used to have your such and such, man. I used to think about you all the time, man. Like, blah, blah, blah." Like the homage to the vets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I say the list at 50, leave it the same. And if somebody's offended by not being on the list at 75, maybe they can get on the list at 100.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Definitely at 100. It's definitely. I think at 100. Okay, here's a question for you. Who's active a player right now that you feel like can make that list? That's not already on there.
Luka.
Okay. Yeah.
Luka is definitely going to be on this list.
Top 75 already. In my opinion.
Hey, so L Train says, what about Bobby Jones? I think Bobby Jones was an excellent defender, but I don't know if it's the same thing, man. When you the third or fourth best player, on a championship team, should you be on the list? Because Bobby Jones played with Dr. J, Maurice Cheeks, Moses Malone, Andrew Toney, who else? Andrew Toney, World Be Free. I mean, yeah. I think Grant Hill had the potential, and I know this is gonna sound like a stretch. Grant Hill had the potential to be a top 10 player of all time.
That ain't a stretch.
Right? Because he was just as or maybe more athletic than Scottie Pippen. Right?
Yeah.
And that's saying something, bro. That's saying something. So he was just as athletic or maybe more than, well, you know what? I will say this. Scottie might have been more athletic on the floor. Grant had more hops.
Right.
I'll say that.
Grant, what would you say? Grant at his peak could have been like Kawhi Leonard?
I think Grant Hill in his prime would have set the bar so high for a cat like LeBron James that we would look at LeBron James differently nowadays.
Okay.
I think the triple-double thing was a real threat with Grant Hill, especially if he got to play out his career in Orlando with Tracy McGrady.
Okay.
If Orlando could have pulled that off, Tim Duncan, Grant Hill, and Tracy McGrady, I think we would still be talking about one of the greatest franchises of all time.
Yeah.
Right. I just think so. But Fish, listen, now I'm gonna get out of here and get something to eat.
Okay.
So I can get ready for this game. You coming back through for the watch along?
Yeah, I'll probably come through for the watch along. Sometimes I don't like I'll be in the chat though for sure.
Okay.
I'll see you.
Hey everybody, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get something to eat, so I'll be ready for the watch along. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Conversations like this one, I want to talk more Orlando, but y'all get me. I look at the chat and y'all be saying one thing, and I get in a conversation with y'all, and y'all just bump me. Y'all just bump me off. I want to talk about the Orlando Magic, but there'll be other times. Maybe Saturday. Maybe Saturday we can talk about the Knicks and Magic. But anyway, I'll see y'all at 6:50.
All right.